Welcome to the Trippi Coaching Podcast. I'm your host, Andrea Trippi, your weight loss and confidence coach, joined by none other than Tommy Else, our personal trainer. Today's episode is one of my favorites. It's our monthly Q&A session where we answer your burning questions about weight loss, health, and fitness. So let's dive right in and get those questions answered.
The Trippi Coaching Podcast is sponsored by Hairborn Salon. This week we put the spotlight on the owner, operator, and stylist himself, Mr. Dave Ragona, the brains behind the direction and muscle behind the design of Hairborn Salon. As a master stylist, published artist, and designer, Dave's talents lie in creating the perfect haircut for each individual, expertly catering to every detail. Specializing in barbering, Dave's out-of-the-box approach crushes men's styling from pompadours to full-color prints and graphics by combining barbering techniques with salon styling. Check out Hairborn Salon at hairbornsalon.com and make sure that you mention the Trippi Coaching Podcast to receive 10% off your next service.
What's up, Tommy?
Hey, Andrea, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. It's that time of the month again.
It's my favorite time of the month.
It's if you know if you know what I mean. It's the Q&A episode. I don't know what you people at home are thinking, but my favorite time of the month is our Q&A episode. So here we are. It's May, and we've got some questions from our listeners and clients.
We do.
Why don't you set us up here with our first question?
Yeah, we appreciate everybody writing in and clients that have asked the questions. And we do have some extra questions for next month, too. So we're excited that you guys are participating in this. So the first question is, should we aim for 64 ounces of water minimum with a target of 80? And if we make sun tea, does that count towards our water goal? So my formula for water intake is to drink half of your body weight in ounces of water. So if you're 200 pounds, 100 ounces of water would be great. Now, does sun tea apply to that? I'm going to say no. The answer is no, and I think you agree with me on that. It's slightly dehydrating. It all depends on what you put in your sun tea. A lot of people don't drink it plain without sugar or additives.
But even if you did.
Yeah, it's high in oxalates. And if you're prone to kidney stones, I would limit it.
So that's I think where we stand on that.
Yeah, 1 or 2 glasses a day of tea is fine. It does not count towards your water goal. So get your water in and then enjoy a glass of tea.
When I say, so many ounces of water a day, it means just straight water, nothing in it.
Yeah, you can throw a lemon in it, something citrusy, but really just try to keep it as plain as you can. And as close to room temperature as possible, too, because your body does metabolize that better.
Yes.
Okay. Question number 2. I love boiled eggs for a quick protein, but what is the real secret to making them easy to shell? Tommy, I'm going to defer to you on this one because I know you have had...
I make a lot of eggs.
Lots of eggs.
I get a box of 60 right now at Walmart, and I go through that in about 5 or 6 days. So I'm hard boiling all of those eggs, and it is a common thing I hear a lot of people complain about. I've certainly dealt with it before. It's the shelling of the eggs that's such a problem for people, and so I've figured out a few different ways to do it. If you're just gonna boil them on the stove like most people do, one of the things that helps is if you add table salt to the water. The salt helps weaken the shell, so it'll break up easier when you're going to shell it, but it does not add any salt to the eggs because it's not penetrating the actual shell. It's just making it weaker. I recently, in the last few months, got an egg cooker that just makes the eggs hard-boiled in about 15 minutes, and I can put the link to that in the show notes so you can find that. The way that it works tends to weaken the bottom of the shell because the heat's coming from the bottom going up, and so that helps make the shell crack off a little easier. Even simpler than that, there's a device you can get that just you take an egg and you put it over the top of it, and you push down, and it just pops a little hole in it. It's got a little needle in there. And what it does is it's just enough of a hole to get between the shell and that membrane that goes around the egg. So when you cook the egg, it helps get water in between there, and then again making it easier to shell it when the time comes.
Yeah, I also heard that fresher eggs are harder to peel because of the pH balance in the white of the shell, and that attaches to the membrane more. So use your older eggs too.
But it's but yeah, and I get that it's frustrating because sometimes even with the best stuff that I've got, you're still going to have a few eggs once in a while where you're just like, it's a lost cause. You're taking off more egg than you are shell at that point. You got to toss it, and with the way that eggs cost today, it's tough to take that kind of a loss.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
But yeah, those are good ways to help keep the shells coming off easy.
All right, then we have part B kind of to this question, and that is, what is the answer on eating yolks or not? So should you eat the yolk or should you leave the yolk?
It's circumstantial. It really just depends on the situation. So generally speaking, I looked into it. American Heart Health Association says that if you're going to have a whole egg, you're looking at the best amount would be like to have 6 a week. Okay. And typically like 3, if you're going to have, in one setting, have 3 at the most.
Yeah. The pros to having the yolk, like Tommy said, it is nutrient dense. They contain rich vitamins like A, D, E, K, a lot of your B, and a lot of essential fatty acids. Has the good healthy fats in it, and has something called choline, which is really great for brain health and your metabolism. So I suggest, if you're having 3 eggs, I like to do 1 whole egg, 2 egg whites.
Yeah.
That's kind of the way I pair my eggs up.
One of the other things is that the eggs on their own typically are not so much the issue as much as what it tends to get paired up with, because few people tend to just eat 3 eggs and just leave it at that. They usually have either bacon or sausage or toast or something along with it, It's the combination of the whole egg with these other things.
Right.
So I have whole eggs. I have my 6 whole eggs a week, but I usually have it on the weekend for breakfast. I'll make 3 eggs and and 1 cup of hash browns on the stove.
Oh, that sounds good.
And and then just a little seasoning on it and everything. But that's all that I'm having. I'm not having bacon with it or eggs or
no egg
sausage.
with your egg.
Yeah. So yeah, and then the rest of the week, I mean, I know I say I'm going through 60 eggs a week, but that's all egg whites. So that's hard-boiled egg whites.
Yeah. Watch the butter you cook it in. Watch the cheese you put on top of it.
Yeah.
And okay, so 4th question is it detrimental to muscle building and recovery if you work the same muscle group 2 days in a row if you're not really that sore? I like this question.
Yes, and it's a good question. This is, when it comes to this, you want to listen to your body. If you feel even just a little sore, that means that the muscles have not healed. And if you did just work out the day before, even if they weren't entirely sore, it still doesn't mean that the muscles have healed up. So if you feel even a little bit of soreness, I would definitely wait, because you got to give your body time to recuperate and heal and build, and tearing into the muscle even more isn't going to necessarily yield greater results. So if you feel like the next day you're like, well, I worked out, but I just don't feel it as much. Sometimes it's delayed too, and if you get delayed onset muscle soreness, and just because you didn't feel it the next day doesn't mean that you might not feel it the day after that. And if you go in on that next day and then you go and you hit that same muscle group again, you could be overdoing it then without realizing it.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I would just take the rest.
Yeah, take the rest. Focus on some active recovery, stretching.
Or just hit a different muscle group.
Yeah, right. If you need a good workout split, we can definitely provide you with that. Please contact Tommy or me, and we could help you work your week out so you don't.
What's a workout split?
Workout split is where you focus on 1 or 2 body parts for that day. So what I like to do is I like to start I love working back.
Mm-hmm.
So on Mondays, ready to go on a Monday. So I hit my back really hard. Tuesday, I'll do chest. Wednesday, I'll do legs.
Right.
Take a rest. Thursday, arms, shoulders, kind of, you kind of split it up.
And
so
I'm the same way too.
Yeah.
I do, I got chest and tris, I do back and bis, then I have legs,
Yeah.
then I've got a shoulder day, then I've got a bis and tris day, then I do legs again.
Right.
And then so on and so forth.
Yeah, it's a nice split so that you don't work the muscles 2 days in a row. It's kind of an old bodybuilding way.
I go 2 days upper body, one lower, and back and forth like that, and then a rest day in there somewhere. So
yeah, so we can definitely help you guys with that if you're looking to personalize your workout, because sometimes it is very confusing. What do I work? Some people do push-pull. Some people do upper body only. We don't want to just work upper body only, guys. We want to work legs too, women and men, because it's a great source to boost your natural testosterone. So I think I said that was our last question, but it is not. So hold on here. We have... Okay, here's the last one. I am not a person who likes to track calories or macros, and I don't like to have to weigh my food. How do I keep my diet healthy enough to lose weight without spending time having to measure all of these metrics? I like this one because this is the crux of the Weight Loss Redefined program, is how do you eat your favorite foods without having to count the calories. Okay, now for calorie counter, it works. It does work because you're going to be in a calorie deficit. But if you don't want to count calories, let's focus on a few things. Okay, you want to focus on eating whole foods. The simpler the food, the better. I like to call them one ingredient foods, like a piece of steak. A baked potato without a bunch of stuff on it, a piece of chicken. It doesn't have to be a chicken breaded with sauce on it. That's where the calories start to pile up. So focus on one ingredient foods. Also focus on your portion sizes and looking at your plate. Quarter of your plate should be your protein. A quarter of it should be a carbohydrate. And then half of that plate should be your vegetables.
And to that,
Go ahead.
Just to plug the show, if you go back, we have an episode called Visualizing Your Portions that gets a little bit more into being able to do that. In just to piggyback off of what Andrea was saying, nutrient dense foods, foods high in fiber. If you're eating stuff that's good for you, you don't really need to worry about the numbers as much. You're going to get full. You're going to get the vitamins you need. It's when you are looking at, if you're tracking like your sugar intake or your sodium intake, and you want to see like, well, can I get away with having this or having that? That's where tracking and weighing and all that stuff can help. But if you're eating whole foods, they're not going to be high in sugar or sodium, and it's going to not be an issue. You don't even have to worry about
and your body,
looking at it.
Sorry about that. And your body will use it all up. And make sure that you do drink plenty of water throughout the day, because that is a key to weight loss and a key to making you have energy so that you can work out hard and
just better health overall.
Yeah.
We've said it a million times, but water is it's cleaning out all of your vital organs. It's purifying your body. It's hydrating your muscles and allowing it so that you can have a better workout. Your brain functions better. Your energy levels are higher. You'll sleep better. Water you can't say enough about it. There's a reason why you hear so much about water, drink so much water a day and everything. It's because it works, because that's its function in this world, and it's part of who we are. You can also reference back to our episode, The Wonders of Water. So, and we can get more into that, but yeah, can't say enough about water.
And our last episode, we had one of my clients on there, Tammy, and she was super successful. And one of her reasons is water. She's like, I never drank so much water in my life. So go ahead and listen to that. That episode too is really, really motivating and really inspiring. So with that, Tommy, I just want to give our thanks to our listeners and people who actually talk about our podcast. I see people and they tell me that they listen and they reference. It's so
it's
cool.
Like, well, I listened to that, and I remember you saying this or whatever, and it's like, it's hard sometimes because we do this and we don't see the other side of it where people are actually listening to it. And I see the numbers and stuff and the analytics and everything, but for us, it's easy to forget that we're not just doing this and putting it out there, and that's the end of the
Right.
story, that this actually gets out to people, and people are actually following with success the things that we've offered out there, the things that are applicable to them. And we appreciate hearing about it. We appreciate the feedback. We appreciate your questions. If you haven't already, please do go to the Trippi Coaching Podcast Facebook page and give us a like. You can also rate and review the podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. That helps give us an idea of, what you think, and lets other people know what you think. And there's a comment section, I believe, at least on Spotify, where you can comment on episodes. And then there's always the Facebook page, too, if you want to say anything. But get involved, and if you subscribe to the podcast on any of your outlets, there's a good chance you might catch it a little early before it gets officially released on all the social media. So,
and don't forget to share with your friends and family, because these episodes will help other people too. And if you have any ideas on a topic that you would like to hear, please do write us, because we are always looking for what you want to hear and not just what we want to say.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, with that, thank you again for another successful Q&A session. I, of course, have been who else but Tommy else.
And I am Andrea Trippi. And until the next time, here's to a healthier, more confident you.
The Trippi Coaching Podcast is produced and mixed by me. Who else but Tommy else? Theme song provided by Professor Click. Be sure to check him out at ProfessorClick.com. All one word, KLIQ.com. The content provided in the Trippi Coaching Podcast is for informational purposes only and is not intended as a substitute for professional, medical, health, wellness advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. Be sure to like, rate, and review the show, and you may hear your review read on a future episode. And follow the Trippi Coaching Podcast on Facebook for exclusive content.